Madridistas, that game was painful. I don't care what anybody says. Yes, we got the 3 points. Yes, Mbappé got us out of jail with that penalty, but if you actually watch the 90 minutes, you know exactly what I'm talking about. That was boring. That was boring. It was stale. That was Real Madrid struggling once again to break down a low block. And if we're being honest, if Mbappe doesn't win that penalty and score, Osasuna would have been just fine camping in that low block all day, and we still wouldn't have scored. That's just how it felt. That's what we watched. I was hoping for a lot more. I saw a lot of other Real Madrid content creators expect like 4 goals out of this one. I did as well, and that's not what we got. We skated out of there with a 1-0 win at home off a penalty. With the talent and the players that we have at a home game, it was just very disappointing. It was very disappointing. So, yeah, we won. But let's actually talk about why this, in my opinion, is a massive red flag for the season ahead. And I'm sorry, guys. I don't normally react like this. I can't let this slide. I can't let this slide. I'm usually positive, optimistic about our team and everything like that, but I cannot let that performance slide, guys. And I can't let y'all slide with it either by saying, hey, well, at least Vini pressed or we look that. No, we're not doing that anymore. We're not doing that anymore. So let's talk about it. And first, I'll start off giving credit where it's due. Okay. The defense was solid. The defense was solid, but I expected that. And in my match preview video, I said, like, with Dean out there, Carreras, Trent, even Militao, and them being comfortable on the ball and being able to pass, our possession, we should have dominated possession even more than what we've done in the past. And we did that. We looked excellent from the back. Dean was incredible. He looks fantastic, guys. This guy's going to be the next Sergio Ramos. I keep saying it, but he is. And for as young as he is, he's just so calm on the ball. Those progressive passes, he was actually trying to get things moving instead of just recycling sideways. And I love seeing that from him. Alvaro Carreras, what a debut. He was one of our best players on the pitch. Legit was one of the best players on the pitch, and he would have had an even better game if Vini wouldn't have ignored him damn near the whole match. He was overlapping all game, and he got nothing in return for it from Vini. Nothing, because he didn't even look at him. And Vini is too busy trying to do it all himself. But he was great. He was great. And for the first 30, 35 minutes, we pressed well. We kept Osasuna pinned back. But what did we actually create? What did we actually create? Where was the danger? Where was the spark? Where were the goals that we all were expecting to see? The biggest root cause to all of our problems was on display yesterday. And it's Vinicius Jr. And I know it's going to upset some of you, but it's time to put the light on this guy. I don't know what's going on with him. Legit. This is not the Vini of 2022, 2023. This is not the guy that made defenders panic whenever he touched the ball. Right now, fullbacks aren't even scared of this guy. You can see it. They're not even scared of him anymore. We're talking about Vinicius Jr. They all know exactly what he's going to do. He's going to cut in. He has no weak foot. He's going to do a Travella pass, maybe, and that's it. What is going on? There's no more excuses. If Vinny wants this money, this is a contract year for him. He's got to step up. I don't know what's going on. I can't let it slide anymore. He refuses to trust the players around him. He ignores Carreras. He ignores simple passes to Mbappé. Instead, he just dribbles into trouble. His ego is slowing us down. And at this point, Xabi Alonso has to make the call. And it's going to be a tough one. It's going to be a tough one, but he needs to bench Vini. He needs to bench Vini right now. The only thing that hasn't happened to Vini is he hasn't been humbled. He hasn't been humbled. You could say that him losing the Ballon d'Or was a humbling thing. The club put its neck out for him by boycotting the event. They stood up for him, the club has put themselves out there for this guy in many occasions. Let's not get it twisted. Now it's time for Vini to return that favor and step up. And mind you, Vini was given the keys to this club. When Benzema left, this was Vinicius' team. It was. We even said that when Mbappé arrived. Mbappé was arriving to Vini's team. That's not the case anymore. I'm not saying we need to sell him. I'm not saying he's finished. But he needs to wake up. He needs to wake up. And I think just a couple games out of the starting 11 might be the shock that he needs. I'm not saying that he doesn't not play like Rodrygo is doing right now. But he does not need to be in the starting 11. He can come on as a super sub. But now we have options to make it the system work without Vini. We could bring in Gonzalo García as a 9, move Mbappé to the left. Or here's an idea. We can take Rodrygo, who's rotting away right now, put him in his preferred position on the left, and just see what happens. Let's experiment a little bit. We have options now. This doesn't need to be the case. This is not Vini's team. We cannot build this team around him and his ego anymore. It's full stop. It's over now. It's over now. It's over. And speaking of Rodrygo, Vini keeps starting, but Rodrygo is just sitting on that bench and he's just like questioning life right now. I'm actually starting to feel bad for the guy. At first I was like, okay, I get it. He's been inconsistent. So that's why he's not getting in. But now this guy, he's not getting in any minutes, and I feel for him because teams want him. He's having to say the right things in the media by like he wants to fight for his spot here. He wants to be here. Xabi Alonso seems to all but just like not trust him right now. I don't know what's going on. There's something must have happened. Something must have happened, guys, behind the scenes that we just don't know about. But I need to know why he's not getting any tick. With a player with his profile, we need him in games like this. We could use him. He's good in tight spaces. He has unpredictable dribbling in a good way. That ability to glide past defenders is just wasting away. It's just wasting away. And look, I said that I wanted to see Rodrygo start, but if he didn't start and or get minutes, it's all but a true sign that he's probably out at Real Madrid. And he didn't start. And he didn't get any minutes. Brahim Diaz, which I said would probably get the start because what Xavi's trying to do with his tactics, Brahim fits a little bit better. I'm not saying Brahim Diaz is better than Rodrygo. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying for what Xavi wants to do, Brahim offers a little bit of a different element of being able to start out the right, come into that cam spot or whatever. He can play in between the lines. It just makes sense. But he's not better than Rodrygo. So don't get that twisted. But again, Brahim got to start. I was excited about seeing how that dynamic worked, but he played too safe. He kept passing the ball backwards, and you can't break a low block by consistently passing back to Trent and Valverde. You just can't do that. And you got to take risks. You got to go out there and create something. And Osasuna isn't going to be the only team that we're facing in La Liga that sits in the low block. And Osasuna put everybody back. Go back and watch the tape. Everybody was back. They only came alive in the second half because they had to start taking some risks. But for the most part, they were camping out. It's no excuse. We had to learn how to beat these teams that do this because this isn't going to be the last time we see it. But we got to start making some changes, and we got to get more creative. We got to take risks. And then let's talk to the bright spot, even though it wasn't his best game, but Mbappé. At least he tried to make something. At least he tried to be creative. At least he tried to take some risk. He was coming back deep to receive the ball, almost becoming a playmaker for us, just so he could make something happen. I like seeing that initiative. But against a team like Osasuna, it shouldn't come down to Mbappé having to put on his Superman cape and say, give me the damn ball. I'm going to make something happen. We have too much talent out there for him to have to do that. Osasuna isn't a world beater. I said they're not an easy out, but they're not a world beater for Mbappé to have to just be like, all right, I need to dominate this game. I want to see Mbappé do that against world beaters, but not against Osasunas. He just can't do it all himself. But he gets a penalty. And come on, guys. I see some of you guys saying, like, was it a penalty? Was it not? Come on. That's a clear penalty, guys. Let's stop it. That's literally the only reason why we're talking about a win today. That's literally the only reason. But again, Mbappé can't do this all himself. So that brings me to the bigger picture. And it's not a great one, guys. The scary part is this isn't going to be a one-off, guys. We looked exactly the same as we did last season in this match. We're relying on one moment of individual brilliance. We can't do that. There's no collective patterns. There's no fluid attacking play. There's just no sense of being a unit. And I thought we were seeing that in the Club World Cup because players were out injured. We're giving new players opportunities. We were looking like a team. We were looking like a team. And speaking of moving like a team, I hate to say this, and I don't do this. I don't like to talk about Barcelona on my channel. I let other people do that. But I had to say this. Barcelona moved like a team. You may look on paper and say, hey, we have the better players on paper. But Barcelona move as a team. You got, obviously, Yamal out there creating chaos on one side. You got Lewandowski occupying defenders in the box. Rafinha stretches the pitch. I could go on and on and on. But all that to say, like, all of that creates mismatches. We got Mbappé. But he gets surrounded by 6 defenders with no one to pass to. We got Vini that just stays out wide all day. And to be quite honest, I think Gonzalo García should have been on the pitch a lot earlier. At least he drags center backs and creates spaces. We saw a lot of that in the Club World Cup. He could have pushed Mbappé out wide to the left, take Vini off, put Gonzalo on. Let's see what happens. But that's neither here nor there. And then there's Franco. Look, I'm glad he got his debut. This was not a secret that Xabi was going to give him some tick. It was exciting to see him get on the pitch. And for the amount of time that he was on there, in his first game of La Liga football at the Bernabeu, now I know it was all a marketing thing and everything like that, but he deserved to be out there. He looked more livelier than Vini did. And Vini played like 70, 75 minutes. Franco looked more alive, more electric, more involved with the team than Vini did. How crazy is that? That just says everything. Franco was out there distributing, doing some great link-up play with Danny out there. He was making runs, getting some dribbles off, passing, pressing. He was all over the place. He got a shot off. He looked better than Vini. And my main takeaway here with the tactics is that, the Club World Cup was a crucible for this team. It was a crucible for Xabi Alonso to figure out his tactics, who his players are going to be, move some players around. And we saw that come alive. And we were all excited about it. Most of us were. And we still haven't figured out how to break a low block. And that's a problem because in La Liga, 80% of our games are going to be against teams like Osasuna. Now, again, Osasuna ain't no chump. They finished 9th. They can be dangerous, but they clearly came in a plan to just sit back and camp out against us yesterday. I was not expecting that for a full stop. I was not expecting them to just sit all the way back the whole match until the later parts of the second half. But we still got to figure out how to break that down. We cannot keep playing like this. If we do, forget about Atletico Madrid, forget about Barcelona. If we come up against Getafe, which I hate them almost as more as Barcelona, only because of how they play. They are so dirty. They sit back. They're grimy. It's just ugly football, but it's disruptive and it works for them. And if we can't do it against Osasuna, Getafe might get a shock result against us because we won't know how to break them down. And I hate to say that, and I feel like that's extreme, but based off of yesterday, that might be what it is. We got to figure this out quickly. And I'm not trying to sound like alarmist or anything like that, but we got to figure this out. I don't know what else to do here. So the fix, in my opinion, is we got to start making more tough decisions. And the tough decision, the first one that needs to happen, is we got to sit Vinicius Jr. on the bench. We have to. We need to start Rodrygo, put him out on the left. We need to get Garcia in as a proper 9 because Mbappé is not. And if we don't start Rodrygo, push Mbappé out to the left and get Garcia in there at the 9. We have options now. We can do a lot. But we need to build this attack around Mbappé, not Vinicius' ego. We can't do that anymore because right now, nobody fears this front 3. And it's so crazy to say that. It's so crazy for me to say that, but nobody fears this front 3. I just don't get it, guys. All that to say, yeah, we got the win. 3 points on the board. But let's be real, guys. That performance was not good enough. It was not good enough. And if things don't change quick, we're going to be in trouble against the big teams. Hell, we've already seen how we played against big teams. The results did not go in our favor. And that's my biggest worry. When we start facing those type of teams, what are we going to look like? Anyways, those are my thoughts. Again, this is a different type of video, but I had to get something out. That's just how I feel. But drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you bench Vini? Do you start Rodrygo? Or do you think Mbappé needs a 9 next to him like Gonzalo Garcia? Let me know. And as always, if you're new here, hit that subscribe button, smash the like button, and we'll be back for the next one. Until then, a la Madrid. Peace.